Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another live commentary. Tis I, Captain Logan, and joining me this evening is my dad. You can call him Joe. Hello, Dad.
Hello, Captain Logan.
How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
I'm good. So, Dad and I are going to do something that Dad's never done before, and it's been probably a couple of years at least since you've been on the channel at all. We've been talking about doing something for a while. Have you ever done anything here in the bunker?
Yes.
I don't remember what it was.
Yes.
Was it just a Captain Logan show?
We did a live show, and we had DJ.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I knew that, because you do know DJ. Well, DJ was with me at the old place, too.
Right.
But now that you say that, it's all coming back to me.
This is my second show here.
Well, thanks for suggesting the movie for tonight. Dad wanted to do a commentary on a horror movie, and Dad's never done a commentary with me before, and so he's a little nervous, so everybody go easy on him. Dad's never talked through a movie like this before.
I have not.
It's real simple, Dad. Dad asked me what the format is. The format is we press play, and a movie plays, and we talk while we're watching it. That's what happens.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that in the theater.
You can't.
They get mad at you.
And you can't do that in your living room, but nobody
listens.
would really want to listen to that usually.
Probably not.
I honestly don't know why anybody listens to these, but they do, so we make them. Anyway, thanks a lot for being here, folks. If you're watching this live or if you're watching after the fact, tonight we're going to tackle 1986's Stephen King Maximum Overdrive, the one and only film that Stephen King directed, and never again. And he absolutely hated that experience, and he was on too much drugs at the time, and decided he would never ever direct anything again. And if you've not seen this film, you're about to find out why.
That's right. And I should say, too, I did suggest this movie, and then you invited me over to do this. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I have seen this movie many times. And one thing that going into this, one thing that I will say for it, I think it probably has one of the best soundtracks for what you're about to see. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that, because that's one of the many lazy things about this movie, is that almost no original music is made for this film.
No, they had one song, right?
I assumed, I didn't look that up.
Who made who?
I assumed Who Made Who had to have been the obligatory single track that they had AC/DC actually write for this, and then the rest of it is just off of AC/DC's greatest hits.
I think that, yeah, we recognize everything else.
Yep. Anyway, this is a movie that, believe it or not, I've been meaning to do a commentary on for a long time. I have had plans for this, which is why I was surprised that you suggested it. I was like, okay, we're going to go ahead and do that. Austin was going to do it with me and actually bought the movie to do this, and graciously said it was cool with him if you did this with it. He tried to take off work tonight so he could do it with us, and he wasn't able to.
But doing great.
Thanks to Austin for being cool with this, and hopefully you can do something with him at some point, because he's hilarious. But I thought this would be a really fun movie to do a commentary on and kind of riff a little bit. I was going to do a blind commentary on it, having not seen it in a long time, but since you were going to be here, and I know you know this movie really well, I went ahead and actually prepared for it, so I have watched this again. But it was the first time I saw it in probably 25 years, 22, 23 years. It's been a long time. I saw it when I was a kid.
I watched it last night and getting ready for this again, and it's probably been 10 years since I've seen it. It's been a while.
Why did you pick this before we get started?
It's just one of my favorite horror movies. It really is.
But, like, ironically, or do you legitimately like this movie, or is it one of those things where you just can't be critical of it because you like it for whatever reason? Like,
I like it for whatever reason, but I will say that this has Emilio Estevez in it, and I went to the theater years ago and saw the movie Free Jack. Free Jack had...
I don't even know what that is.
It was a time travel movie, and it had Emilio Estevez in it, and the protagonist in the movie was Mick Jagger, and it was actually very entertaining. And he's done some odd movies like that, and this is one of them.
That's really interesting. We should get into the commentary, but I was going to bring this up later, but I'll just mention it real fast. Stephen King's first choice for the lead in this was Bruce Springsteen. So it's, and one of the reasons that he immediately started hating having to make this movie and got real down on it was because he didn't get his choice, and the studio made him pick Emilio Estevez. So it's really interesting that then Emilio Estevez ended up working with another rock star. That's so weird.
Yeah. What
are the odds of that?
So you've never seen Free Jack?
No.
So hey,
I've never heard of that.
That could be another commentary. That'd be a fun blind commentary.
Is it bad?
No, well, It's science fiction, but it's I don't know. Yes, it's kind of like this bad.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's entertaining. You know, like some movies can be so bad they're entertaining,
Sure.
and it's entertaining.
I always thought this was in that category, and now I'm mixed on that. But we'll go we'll go ahead and get started. If you want to watch it with us, and we certainly suggest that you do that, make sure and get out your DVD if you happen to have this. This was a rarer DVD for a while. I think it's gotten a little bit easier to get again, a little cheaper. For a while, this was, I think, like a $20, $30, $40 DVD, but I think it's easier to get now. It is also available right now for rental on Amazon for like $4, but I don't think... At least no streaming service that I'm currently subscribed to has it. I think somebody does. I can't remember who it is, but it's not one of the main 4 or 5. So anyway, if you want to watch it with us, get it rigged up, get it timestamp 0, get ready to press play whenever I say now. I'm just about to do that, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Yes, sir.
I was going to say real quick, I monitor DVD prices a lot because of what I do.
Right.
That's about $10 now. That's a going rate. So it's come down some.
Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. So right out the gate, I want to mention this company, DEG. This was, and it's weird because it's the same year. I just happened to go back and watch this again the other day, the 1986 Transformers movie. This company also made that. When I saw this Starfield, right into this, I thought it was going to also be Orion. I thought maybe Orion made this movie.
That's funny.
But anyway, that company also made Transformers, and it's interesting, and I tried to look into this. I couldn't find anything. I wonder if that has anything to do with why it's a Green Goblin head on the front of the truck.
Ooh.
Because... Marvel is working with this company at the time because they had the Transformers license when that movie came out. And the same year, they put out a movie with the Green Goblin head in the front. Coincidence? I'm not sure.
I don't know. So this movie is set 1 year ahead, right?
Yeah, and that's weird because
That
very
is weird.
often you'll just try to set a movie the year that you know it's coming out. So this movie takes place in Wilmington, North Carolina, and was also shot there, I think. And the guy who plays the obnoxious owner of Pat Hingle, the obnoxious owner of the gas station, who was also Jim Gordon in Batman '89 3 years after this, liked working here so much he moved there, and he lived right outside of there all the way until his death in '09.
And of course, this is Stephen King at the ATM.
So I remembered the opening of this a little bit differently. I always remembered the ATM saying F you, F you, F you instead of a-hole. And the big thing I didn't remember, which is hilarious and one of the best gags in this, I think, is it's not just the ATM saying a-hole, but when he walks up, there's a big billboard that does say F you at the top, and I never noticed that. So I want you to explain to me why you've seen this movie 12 times.
Yeah, this is more like 15 or 16. For years, my wife and I used this for our Halloween movie when the kids would go to bed. Hey, you were one of the kids.
Which is really funny because I would let Jason watch this movie.
We watched, this was, for about 10 years, this was a Halloween, what am I trying to say? We did it every year.
Just, yeah, a tradition.
A
staple.
tradition. There you go.
So this was based on a short story, I've not read it, that Stephen King wrote called Trucks. And I wish the movie was still called Trucks to some degree, because that would at least help to justify why by the middle of the movie all we're dealing with are 18-wheelers.
That's true.
Because at the beginning of this movie, everything goes haywire. And you see the grander scope of all the problems that people are having with technology because this comet is passed, and it, for whatever reason, we're given a half explanation at the end. Something alien spaceship. And everything is going crazy and haywire, and then eventually we're just focusing on this one small town with all these big rigs, and I think the movie kind of forgets that the rest of technology was also affected by this. I didn't look up Martha Schumacher. I don't know if that's any relation.
You know, I was about to ask you that. I've always wondered that.
Daniel Davis, they eventually actually made Trucks a TV movie. It's somehow worse than Maximum Overdrive. Wow! What year was that, Daniel? He also earlier complimented you on your southern accent.
Well, thank you. As these cars start to pile up, notice the black van.
What about it?
The black van is important. It has a logo on the side of it.
There's a lot of unintentional product placement in this movie.
Oh, especially with the 18-wheelers.
Mm-hmm. I don't think...
Okay, what's this van?
Okay, the AC/DC van? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
AC/DC.
I had forgotten about that until you mentioned it. So I think this movie would be a great deal more enjoyable if the whole film was just this stuff. If it was just a Warner Brothers cartoon, just every scene, it's like some piece of technology goes crazy and tries to kill people. Because this should have been a disaster movie before a horror film, at least the way he's shooting it, as silly as it is. Because I think there is potentially a horror film here. I don't think that's what he made, but I think he is making a parody of a horror film and may or may not realize it. And maybe he was enough on cocaine he wasn't 100% sure himself. And not to make fun of him for that too much, of course, because this was during a really difficult, rough period for Stephen King, and it was only shortly after this that he got past that addiction. But he stopped writing crazy, nutso stuff like this after that. So this was still during the period where he did some of his best writing, of course. This is not one of those things.
No, and my understanding is he was so popular by this point, they started reaching to his short stories.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't enough stories.
By 1986, they were already running out of material.
Right. Stephen
King apparently has a fixation on technology run rampant, and of course, you know, I've always made the argument that Stephen King is as much of a science fiction guy as he is a horror guy, and I've liked his science fiction more than I've liked his horror. You know, my favorite Stephen King stuff is stuff like Firestarter and The Running Man and things like that. Novel-wise, here's our first glimpse of the Green Goblin. And the first time you'll see anything related to the Green Goblin on the big screen.
Is that right?
I'm sure.
And by the way, Google is carrying a story right now. I saw it yesterday that prop on that truck has been located.
Oh, wow.
And it's being restored.
That's awesome.
By a prop collector out in California.
That is the most famous thing about this movie.
It is.
So this is the most product placement, and again, unintentional, that Bic, the pen company, will ever have.
That's exactly right. Except for the toilet paper on top of the truck later when it explodes.
Oh, yes.
I think that's kind of cool. I
think the Green Goblin head is immediately somewhat less creepy and provocative just knowing that it's Green Goblin. I find that so distracting. It's like, why'd you just rip out a thing from a comic book? That's so strange, but your average viewer wouldn't have known that's what it is, and so it's just a big, a horrifying goblin head. I think there was an argument for a long time about whether or not that was actually a Green Goblin, but it's got a purple head. Like, it right. has to be Green Goblin. And there's actually Green Goblin toys in it. And I wonder if they made that for this movie or if there was actually Green Goblin toys. I don't think there were. But I think in the universe of this, that's just a company mascot that has toys.
So, when I mention this movie to my friends, they'll all say, oh, that's the truck that's got the crazy looking clown on it.
Yeah. Although I can see why they would say that, like, especially obviously not knowing what that's a Green Goblin thing and what that is. There's Pat Hingle.
Did you know
that's our one big comic connection here.
Did you know Commissioner Gordon bought a truck stop?
He not only bought a truck stop, but it turns out that he is an insane gun nut.
Oh, he is.
And he is a womanizer like every man in this movie. Okay, so that pinball machine is called Knight Rider. It has nothing to do with the TV show.
It does not.
It is a 70s machine, I think, and I know a guy that has one.
Oh, that's cool.
Believe it or not. The guy I bought my digital pinball machine from started buying real pinball machines. That's why he sold me that. And he's got 4 now already, and that's one that he bought.
Wow.
But what I was going to say is, I could see why somebody might remember that as a clown, because I think on the back of the truck there is a picture of a big creepy clown.
Oh, there is.
Am I remembering
You are
that?
right. You are right. There is. So, did you see that diesel in this movie was $1.08 a gallon? Did you catch that?
That means regular was probably 55 cents.
It wasn't much.
Yep. In my lifetime, I was born 2 years before this movie. The lowest I remember gas prices ever being was something like 87 cents in the early 90s.
Kids, don't try this at home.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
So, one of the most silly things about this movie to me is the sound cue. Every time somebody gets attacked by technology, it's like the rock version of the Psycho theme. Have you had that thought? Why are we doing that? It's
and at times that will cue before they get hurt.
Yeah. Like, if there was any tension or anticipation, you've already kind of botched it.
And here's our hero.
So I don't understand why Hingle keeps calling people Bubba, because I thought his character name was Bubba.
His name is Bubba.
Why does he call everybody his own name?
I know, his name is Bubba.
Imagine if I ran a place and I called everybody Captain. That's weird. That's not actually my name.
Have you noticed what the stars mean
The stars.
on the time cards?
No, I wasn't paying attention to that.
The stars mean that they're felons. So they're on probation, so he can basically make them do anything he wants. Or he can turn them
Oh, okay, so that's part of the plot. They do talk about that. It doesn't go anywhere. Like
doesn't go
everything
anywhere.
with this movie. But he's just got him over a barrel. He says he can make him work 8 hours and only clock in for 7.
Right.
But I didn't notice the stars.
Yeah, they have a star.
That's a good catch for detail there.
But what I don't understand is one of those time cards had two stars. And
Like
I
a
don't,
double time felon?
Yeah, like
A felon for multiple things?
so like we're on third strike or something.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah. Did you see it?
I did there, yeah. Did they show it already? Like before that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't
Well,
looking.
you were commenting on the time cards, and I wasn't seeing time cards yet.
I think they showed it before.
Interesting. So we are completely inconsistent about. I don't know how that bothers you. It doesn't look remotely like it's happening.
It doesn't, but it still bothers me. I worked in the kitchen too many years.
Well, I was going to ask you, by the way, did you ever have a felon working for you and had to have stars on your time card?
No,
You never had that?
never had. Because we always worked with background checks, so that wouldn't happen.
Well, yeah, but that would mean that they hired them on purpose because they were a felon.
That's right.
Like they knew it was a felon.
They knew, because they knew they had them over a barrel.
But, so we're really inconsistent with how the comet works. And I wanted to bring this up now because it affects all this technology. It's apparently, as far as I can tell, it's like one entity that's possessing all of it.
Right.
I guess. Although sometimes it seems to act a little bit like certain pieces of technology have their own minds, kind of. I don't know. That's a place where it's inconsistent. But the big thing I wanted to mention is right there you've got that, what was that? It was just an electric knife?
Yes.
You've got that electric knife that continues going after them even after it's been unplugged. It's got no power to it. They have to beat the crap out of it before they can
That's right.
finally keep it from going after them. That is going to be a plot point that we completely ignore the rest of the movie. Because later on, all the big rigs that are going after them need the
fuel.
people here to give them fuel, and I don't know why, if that can happen.
I also don't understand how that the technology seems to be able to see
And here.
and hear, and yeah, I don't
Well,
understand.
here sometimes. We're gonna have a moment later at the end of the movie where somebody tells someone else a secret right in front of a gun that's aimed at them.
Right.
After it aimed itself at them based on something somebody said. So it's super sloppy. And again, it was very early in the pre-production on this movie that Stephen King already didn't give a crap anymore and was disillusioned with the whole project.
I want to say I did not look this kid up,
Yeah.
but I liked him.
What kid? Oh, just the... Is this the kid that gets chased by a lawnmower?
Yes.
So this is the thing that everybody remembers from this movie, and that you got a kid that is hilariously chased by a lawnmower. The scene is made somewhat less funny to me knowing what happened to the cinematographer. Because he got hit by a blade.
Oh, wow.
From the lawnmower, and Stephen King insisted on keeping the blades on it, and everybody told him it was too dangerous, but he insisted on keeping them, even though they weren't even in the shot. And one of the blades got lodged in the cinematographer's eye. He lost his eye, and he was afraid he'd never be able to work again. And he did, but he didn't do as high-profile projects. I don't understand how the various machines in this movie suddenly are able to do things that they wouldn't be able to do before, just because now there's an entity controlling them.
Right.
And that's one of the things that just immediately takes you out and turns this into a farce. And if it was a fun farce like this all the way through, I could accept it a lot more. But Dad, this was not as much fun as I remembered it. Like, it was a little bit disappointing going back to it now, because you get about half an hour of this crazy, not-so-fun stuff. When he falls over that bicycle, there's a split second where I find myself going, well, the bicycle's not like motorized technology. Like, why did he flip over that motorcycle? Just like he could get run over, or somebody could get run over. But anyway, I forgot what I was talking about.
Okay, here we go.
Oh yeah, so this first half hour is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And after that, Dad, too much of this movie just is at this truck stop, and I don't totally know why we're just focusing on this truck stop. And our characters don't actually do the thing that ultimately stops the threat, because it's completely anticlimactic, and it's just what somebody said at the beginning they thought it would be, which is, well, you just wait 6 or 7 days, and then it moves on, and then you don't have any problem anymore.
And that's what happens.
So this is affecting the entire world. Why are we just focused on these people unless it's a character piece, and it's not? So almost a full hour of this movie is practically nothing but trucks circling a gas station. Like, that's the movie at some point.
Let me say real quick that this young lady here, this is Lori Harrington, and she was the sister of the lead in Who's Eating Gilbert Grape.
I don't know what that is.
A few years later, a movie in '93, I think. And then she also did The Devil's Advocate in the '90s alongside Keanu Reeves.
I don't remember her in that, but I've seen that one time. I think that was somebody requested that.
Is that right?
I probably have a review of that. Yeah.
So, I mean, she had a little career.
I assume she was better in those movies.
I don't know.
Because here she's obnoxious, intentionally, but it doesn't matter. I can't stand her, and it seems like she's channeling the old woman, at least in what her voice sounds like, the old woman in Poltergeist, too much.
This house is clean.
Yeah. Or actually, oh no, not this girl. I'm thinking of sorry, I thought we were in a different scene. The girl that's that just got married.
Yeah.
She's obnoxious.
Yes.
And she sounds like the lady from Poltergeist if she was like 19 years old.
There you go.
Sorry, I thought that's who we were talking about. I forgot that this girl was here because
this is the love interest for Emilio Estevez.
But I just forgot that this was the same character because she's wearing a hat here and she's wearing a different outfit through the rest of this, I think.
Yeah, she looks different in this scene than she does the rest of the movie. In
fact, I read something about that. I think this is what that article was talking about. There's a thing where somebody in the production, a producer or somebody, decided that she should be wearing more revealing clothes. So when she shows up, she's got this on. And then later it's got to be more revealing. And I don't even know if there was an excuse for her to change. That guy filling up the truck here, that is kind of, I guess, set up and payoff. in that you see somebody filling up a gas at the beginning, and then later on we're gonna have a big plot point about people having to fill up the gas tanks.
Right.
So we do. There's the creepy clown in the back.
You're right. There is a clown on that truck.
That's probably what people remember.
I bet it was. He had a double bubble, by the way.
Impressive. I think he should set his sights a little higher. Darren Root, if I remember right, I think one of the victims was Lisa Simpson's voice actress. Oh, is that the newlywed? Interesting.
That's the newlywed.
Interesting.
Yardley Smith.
Yep. Wow. I didn't notice her name in the credits.
She wanted to try out for Bart Simpson, and the casting director said that her voice was too high. So they suggested that she try out for Lisa Simpson. And that was in '87 when when it was going to be on the Tracy Ullman show.
Yep.
And then it spun off into its own, and she has worked consistently for 34 years.
And so,
as
most
Simpson.
of that cast, of course. Austin and I talked about all of that, because I don't know if you know this, we're doing a Simpson series.
Oh, okay.
Right now, we're doing season overviews, and we've done 3 now.
How'd you like those dead
talked about all
cars
of
with
that.
the lights going on and off? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess. One of the things that drives me nuts is that this car
There's Yardley.
Is apparently immune to the comet.
Oh, this car?
And I don't understand that. There are various places where people need to be able to use technology so they just can, and the
Right.
comet doesn't actually affect them. And if I'm making this movie, what would make it horrifying is that you can't trust any technology. So you'd have to go back to more like, like things of antiquity in order to deal with the technology. And it would be like, man versus tech without being able to use tech. And wouldn't that potentially be interesting?
Yeah, because when they...
Hard to be resourceful if you can't actually use a lot of stuff that's around you.
So you can see all through this movie, there's people dead in their cars because their car turned on them. And this car never turns on them. That's what you were talking about.
Yeah. That kind of makes it worse. So you're right. Like, that's a cool detail that's there, but I don't know why their car is immune. And there could have been easily a plot point about that. Another thing I would have done with this, not to rewrite the whole thing, but I just think this would make what we have even better. Is you just have the comet or whatever the MacGuffin is only affect this town.
Right. Yeah.
You immediately resolve a lot of those problems if it's just here. And maybe any technology that you bring in after that is immune. That's how you get around it.
Now, the man that plays the husband here, that is John Short. And John Short had a short career in Hollywood, and for years he was an acting teacher at Loyola Marymount. I thought that was interesting.
Why do you know that?
Because I've watched this so many times, I started looking people up. But she was hired to be annoying, and she did a really good job.
Yeah, I don't know what the point is of that if we have to watch her the entire movie. This is a character you would expect to get killed off in 3 scenes.
Right, and she doesn't.
Or that she would just have, like, the most magnificent death ever at the end.
Now, the Bible salesman does.
Yeah.
But...
Well,
and he was annoying too, but he was a good actor.
Yeah.
And
but he's not annoying by comparison.
What's that?
He's not as annoying by comparison.
No, he's a womanizer, and that's kind of annoying.
Like most of the men in this are, he's just more extreme than that. But yes, this does have that standard schlocky horror movie thing of everybody, like all the horrible people have to pay for their horribleness by dying in awful ways.
Right.
And that's supposed to be cathartic in some way. But, obviously, thematically at the heart of just this concept is people over-relying on technology. And the initial... Like, I wonder how the short story reads, because and I wish I'd had time to read that before this, but the initial... there is an initial, like, terrifying concept here. Like, if... You couldn't rely on any of the machines that you have and everything turned on you. Obviously, that's a freaky situation. I think hard to put on film, but not impossible. But I do think that's a thing that's easier potentially to get away with in prose as being legitimately scary. And I was going to say this earlier, but I think it's interesting that he wrote this and Christine.
Oh, that's right.
He at some point had a fixation on vehicles, specifically cars, come to life and trying to kill us for our hubris, because we think as the dominant species on the earth we can tame our environment by creating, anything we want to, and then just taking over.
You're right. That is the biggest Bic advertisement I've ever seen.
And I'm sure they didn't pay for that.
I don't know.
I bet you money they didn't pay for that.
I don't know. I think they would today.
Well, the thing is, this movie is a more high-profile thing than it's actually shot like. Because everything about this is very B-movie-ish.
Oh, it is.
Particularly the way the last 2/3 of it is completely padded. Like, it's just, filling out time and waiting to get to the end.
Oh, and then when we get to the end, it's like, okay, 6 days pass and then it's over. It's like they run out of stuff, is almost.
Unknown Passenger, I can't remember if the irritating girl dies now. It's certainly not a memorable death.
The irritating girl.
That we were just talking about, the Lisa Simpson girl. I can't remember.
Oh, no, she doesn't.
I don't think she dies.
She lives through it.
Yeah, why would you do that? Why would you not kill her?
Because she has to live to be Lisa Simpson for 34 years.
That's not how that works. But yeah,
is that key going to save him?
And there's the pop-up.
There is a toy.
There's a pop-up Green Goblin.
I've seen this 16 times. I never
noticed that? What's weird about the pop-up Green Goblin is that I actually have a pop-up Joker like that.
Like a Jack in the Box?
Yeah, a Jack in the Box that came out, a couple years ago.
Right.
Both characters in animation voiced by Mark Hamill. But I digress.
Wow.
Brightburn, thanks for the super chat. No question, but thanks for the super chat.
No question.
Darren Root, actually, he made Christine because someone said he couldn't. I didn't know that.
I'll be.
Interesting.
Now,
well, if this movie had come out before he wrote that, I might have agreed with them.
Everybody else that gets remotely close to this truck dies. And he's within 5 feet. Oh, she's changed.
Yep.
You're correct.
That's why.
The hat's gone.
Yep. And her entire...
Look at the mirrors move by themselves. I think that's a cool, cheap effect.
But explain to me how it works.
I don't know. We talked about that. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
how some of this
understand.
works. But I think it's a cool, cheap effect.
I just want some sort of consistency. I get that there's a lot of farce in this, but I can't tell how, complete farce it wants to go. It's a goofy, schlocky movie, certainly.
Sure.
But there's really no excuse for the complete lack of internal logic we have here. Because if the mirrors can move by themselves, why can't anything move? Why couldn't one of the bicycles just be taken over?
When the...
Oh, I'm sorry, Iron Shell. That's true. It is Hobgoblin, not Green Goblin. That's voiced by Mark Hamill. I can't believe in the moment I made that mistake.
Okay.
Yes, of course I know that.
Here we go. I think this is one of the best as far as creepy, cheap effects possible. This kid turns around in a minute, and they know he's turning around. They die down. I think that's kind of cool.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
that's cool. And it was cheap. It didn't cost.
I can't give you creepy, but it's cool.
Well, it was like 3 guys on a buzzer or something to make those go down.
Yeah,
it was kind of cool.
But I could make it immediately more atmospheric and ominous by not having AC/DC music in this scene.
Now, see, I like
either change the music or don't have music in this scene.
See, I like the music in this scene.
Why?
I don't know.
I'm just saying
it
doesn't help to create any kind of tension.
You're going to see some weird deaths through here, though.
And see, now it's dropped out. Oh, wait, then it comes back. I forgot about that. See, it's a little bit creepier here where it keeps coming in and out.
Right.
I just think that there's an attempt at a juxtaposition here that's not really working.
How did that person die?
Okay, let me suggest a re-edit and tell me what you think of this.
Look at that.
You used the exact. That dog has a toy car in his mouth, and I don't know why.
And it killed it.
And it's, oh, okay, okay. That's actually really funny. And see, this is why I want more of this movie to be like this.
What was in her hand?
I thought it was like an electric razor or something.
Yes, or a blow dryer.
Okay, but here's what's great about the dog. The dog was chasing a car, and it caught it, and it died. And that's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Okay.
But let me suggest a re-edit.
Coming up,
yeah.
Look at this street sign. Maybe it's not here, but in a minute, there's going to be a street sign. And that would be like the best trivia question ever. On the corner of Kenwood and Shirley. I think the ice cream...
I don't know what the significance is to that, but...
Well, I just, like, have you ever seen Maximum Overdrive? What was the street corner that the ice cream truck came down?
The ice cream truck comes back at the end.
It does.
Like it's a big setup payoff thing, and this movie doesn't have enough of that, so it kind of was jarring and came out of nowhere.
Don't you think the ice cream truck is a little creepy?
Yeah, but I think ice cream trucks in general are kind of creepy.
Well, that's my point.
Sure, but they don't have to work at that.
They don't have to lose their driver to be creepy.
But here's my re-edit. The bit that you like, where the sprinklers drop down.
Yes.
No music at all through that part.
Okay.
Just don't have the AC/DC song. And then as he starts pedaling and he starts seeing creepy stuff, that's when it's like dead people on the side of the road and stuff.
Right.
That's when it comes up and then keeps dropping out like it does. So every time he sees something horrifying, it drops out, and then he starts pedaling and it comes back. And it shouldn't have started until after the sprinklers. There's no tension.
No, that's true.
During the sprinkler bit.
That's true.
I didn't even notice that was supposed to be ominous because of the music. You had to point it out to me.
I see. See, and I thought it was ominous.
Nothing about this is.
No.
It just isn't.
It's not.
First of all, he's going to outrun that all day long.
That's right.
And I can't remember, does it even come back, or was that it?
No, that was it. I think that's it for
A man lost his eye over that scene.
Over that one scene?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was because Stephen King thought it would be creepier, it would be somehow scarier to leave the blade in, even though you couldn't see it on camera. There's nothing even remotely scary about that scene, and that's where I get off saying I don't know how comedic this is actually intended to be. Because obviously at the core of it, there is a comedy. You can't say that Stephen King intended this to be 100% serious. There's no way.
Well,
but he thinks parts of it are actually scary, and I don't understand that.
And see, it starts from the beginning as far as it being funny, because that ATM machine says what it says, calls him that name 32 times.
Yeah. And that's the tone that you open with. That's setting the tone of the film.
Right.
But I think you either go, back to an earlier point, you either go completely consistent with how the technology works, and everything in it, and its dog is trying to kill them in this small town, or and you just focus on this one small town,
right?
Or you don't do it like that, and you have a reason for some of these things. You make it just trucks. Like, if the idea was trucks in the first place,
that was the idea.
How about you just have the 18-wheelers trying to kill them? Why is it everything else? Because it ultimately doesn't work. And some of the most fun moments are not the trucks. So it'd be great to have both if you could pull it off, but...
And did you catch that the name of the movie is spoken one time?
And pretty early. It's got that...
I thought it was later. It's Laura Harrington that says it.
But, I mean, it's in the first half of the movie.
Is it?
If memory serves. It's not in the third act. I mean, it's...
Maybe not.
But it definitely has that Star Trek episode thing of we got to get the name of the title somewhere in the episode.
That's right. It does. She says all the machines in the world are on maximum overdrive or something like that.
Yep. And it's real forced in. It's something of a drumhead trial.
It would have been a lot simpler to have said, wow, look at all the trucks.
These sure are a lot of trucks driving around.
Somebody like my southern accent a while ago. I reckon that's a lot of trucks.
Then there's a whole lot of trucks. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I love the.
There it is.
I love the bit later where the trucks are all circling the gas station, and then that guy's like, "Oh, there's a gap.
Oh
We
yeah.
can get through the gap."
We get through the
And
gap.
it's like, how do you know they're not going to speed up? I don't understand.
Well, I think the point was
That's a nice creepy shot.
I think the point was he had seen them circle enough that there was always that gap. I think that's what he was getting at.
Yeah, but they've all seen enough now to know that these things can respond to things people do. So you can't treat it as automated. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
If the trucks see you coming, there's nothing stopping them from going faster if they want to. Daniel Davis says that guy had it coming. He absolutely did. With his hand on that girl's thigh and all that.
He definitely did.
And of course, Pat Hingle also deserves to die. Not Pat Hingle, but his character. But he dies relatively late. He's one of the last big characters to kill off. Because eventually they'll just be constantly fired on, and people don't seem to be all that as concerned about getting hit by bullets as I would think that they would be. There's a lot of just standing there waiting for guns to go off.
Oh, especially the waitress. She goes out front and asks for it 2 or 3 times.
Yes. Almost like she is screaming the theme of the movie. Because we didn't really make it about very much. So we have to just have a girl that keeps going, "We made you!"
Yeah, we made you.
Like, that could have been the tagline on the poster.
That could have been the inspiration for the AC/DC song, Who Made Who.
Yeah, well, it probably was. Well, and what's annoying about that, besides the fact that there's nobody's favorite AC/DC song, what's annoying about that is, so I don't know how the eyes light up. Like, I guess it's just possessed, but none of the other trucks do that, or any other technology that gets taken over. I guess that tells us that that's the lead one. Because they kind of play it like the big bad of the movie is that truck.
Right. And like it's telling the others what to do or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But it seems like more of a collective consciousness, or like a singular consciousness. So I don't know. I mean, nobody's actually, Stephen King didn't really think this out.
And why do the trucks honk? I don't know. But
Intimidation tactic is the best I've got.
Maybe so, but I really want that prop. That Green Goblin.
I don't think you're going to get it, Dad.
I don't either, but that's cool.
I don't think you're going to be able to get your hands on that.
That is cool, though. There is a lot of advertisement in this show.
Yes, and that is because they just used a bunch of local trucks and didn't bother to change what was on the sides of them, which is why I think Bick probably didn't pay for that. I think that was just a truck that was around. I mean, a lot of these are just random local companies that would have been in Wilmington.
Right. Like that Thurston.
Yes.
I think that's regional, isn't it?
And this gas station they built for this movie, because of course they're going to destroy the whole thing at the end. They're going to run all this down and... Hey, Pat Hingle, if you look for 3 seconds, you'll notice that no one's driving them. We see the Green Goblin mask so often that it just stops being creepy at some point. And I don't mean to not have any historical perspective. I think a lot of the observations I'm making I would have made if I was an adult when this came out. These people are having a bad honeymoon.
Yardley here is, the way it's worded is she is a French-born American actress. She was born in Paris. So how does that work? Like her parents just happen to be in Europe?
Probably. But, like, you didn't have to tell me that she was faking the southern accent. Like, that was pretty clear.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I can't help but like her in this, though.
Oh, really? I'm not saying she's bad. She's just intentionally irritating.
Yes.
I'm not sure it was warranted.
But if that was the I guess what I'm trying to get at is if that was her direction, she did a really good job because she was annoying.
Unknown Passenger. Imagine this movie directed by Zack Snyder. I think he would be the guy for the remake of this movie. Absolutely. RJ Godzilla. I think Maximum Overdrive might have made a good episode of TOS. I can see that to some degree. We kind of have that with Ultimate Computer, though.
Well, it's true because it tries to take over.
It's not the same story, of course.
No.
So Stephen King's son is trying to get a remake of this made.
Oh, really?
And this is one of those few things that I actually would like to see a remake of because I think you could really improve on it. And I think you could do it either way and improve on it. I think you could make it a really goofy, ridiculous farce again and just make it more entertaining all the way through. But I also think that you could make a more legitimate, actual horror film out of it, potentially.
What if
that's a thing I could see Blumhouse going for. What are you saying?
What if Tarantino directed this?
Well, then it would have characters and be about things. And I know that, obviously, Stephen King writes wonderfully character-driven fiction, but whenever he's gone to screen, his writing's not as good. Have you ever seen the TV version of... why can't I think of titles right now? Okay, I don't know why that exploded already. As it was coming down.
I was just about to say that. I never saw it hit anything that would make it explode.
Yeah, I thought maybe I missed something. Yeah, first time around. I don't know what made that explode.
I don't either. What else we got?
Oh, good, they've got shower facilities. I think some of the people that work at that truck stop should use those. That seems like a good idea. But, oh yes, Daniel Davis, I forgot I was making a Shining point. So, did you ever see the TV version of The Shining?
I have not.
Because Stephen King wrote the script for that, and it's not good.
Yeah, I've not seen it.
And the dialogue in that is really dated and kind of stilted, and I don't know, just either his writing just doesn't translate great to screen, or he's not great with screenplays. Maximum Overdrive, not to be confused with Power Rangers Operation Overdrive or Spider-Man Maximum Carnage. Unknown Passenger. It's weird. While I think Stephen King is a good storyteller, I just find his horror attempts... I just don't find his horror attempts particularly scary. I mean, it depends on the project when we're talking about books. But yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't think his sensibilities actually lend themselves as well to horror as they do to science fiction. But, I like his horror that's more character-driven, and it's not necessarily about just trying to scare you as much as that's just the backdrop of the thing.
Hey, look, he's shooting the gap.
Oh, yes, this was the scene I was talking about earlier. But, I want more stuff from him like 11/22/63, where there's some real, messed up and unsettling stuff in that book, but it's not a horror story, which is why I hate the Hulu miniseries, because they just made it a Stephen King movie. Stop talking!
She's being annoying.
Stop it! And a truck runs over, and she's dead. Oh.
No, they got away.
Why do you keep calling people your name? And I don't buy that you got that. I don't know how you got your hands on a rocket launcher.
Would you see the basement?
Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't know how he bought that. Like, you can't just go buy a rocket launcher. Like, how did he get it? There's some dialogue about this later where somebody asks, like, how he even gets weapons. He must have stole them. And somebody says, oh, no, he bought them. That's what he spends his money on. And I'm like, okay, he bought a rocket launcher? Like, certainly not legally.
Right.
You know, I mean, I know a lot of gun control laws were more lax in 1986, but I still don't see you getting your hands on a rocket launcher.
It was just for the plot.
It's just because they wanted the audacity of a rocket launcher. But see, they keep writing themselves, or I say them, Stephen King keeps writing themselves out of explanations for things in this movie, Dad. Like, there was an explanation there. Oh, he steals weapons. I mean, I don't completely understand that either. I still would wonder how he got his hands on that. But, like, why did you write yourself out of that? No, he bought a rocket launcher? Okay. It's weird.
Somebody a while ago said, I still can't believe this scared me when I was 6. I can't say I was ever scared by it. I even did it a while ago when that girl got cut. I always jump at that. I hate that.
But I mean, see, I don't think Miller paid for the product placement for that truck either.
Probably not.
RJ Godzilla, the 80s were a different time. Yeah, I've got flashes of a few kind of random small town movies with this. Like, there's a weird amount of Superman 2 in this movie. And 3, now that I'm thinking about it. Before everything went into maximum overdrive. See, it's that early in the film.
There it is. I thought it was later than that. Maybe the other 15 times it was.
By the way, yeah, that's how that works. Everybody that ran out of toilet paper during the pandemic, it's all over.
It's all right there. Go back in time.
Yeah, it's all on the pavement right there. In that parking lot. How much of the budget of this movie went to Amelia Estevez's hair?
The gel. That's funny.
They had a product budget.
Evidently. And have you noticed how bloody and dirty his shirt is? And then later in the movie, suddenly he's got a brand new T-shirt on.
Does he?
Yes.
No, I remember him having like red splotches all the way through it.
He did right then.
No, but later in the movie he'll still have that. I don't think it gets clean.
Yeah, it gets clean.
Okay, we'll look for that. I just watched this earlier today, and I don't remember that. Yeah.
There is a scene later in this movie.
Unknown passenger. He said the thing. Well, she said the thing. She got the maximum overdrive line.
She got it.
So, like, how many planes get taken over? Like,
well, see, later that plane is nose down in a school bus.
Oh, I missed that.
Well, you haven't seen it 16 times.
Yeah.
You catch things.
But what I'm saying is, like, you want to be involved enough with these characters. I mean, for whatever reason. Like, they're just fun, ridiculous cartoon characters, or they're actually compelling people that you relate with. I argue most of these are none of those.
I don't think so.
But you want to be invested enough in these characters that you're not having thoughts like, boy, I wonder what else is happening in the rest of the world. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's why I get off saying, I wish the whole movie was just the disaster stuff, you know? Just treat it like a Rapture kind of movie. And the planes go down, and the computers are stealing everybody's money out of their bank accounts. Like, we could sit here, Dad, and come up with like a dozen interesting scenarios, you know, amusing or terrifying, of what would happen if this happened. And I'll also say that it wouldn't have to be an anticlimactic. I'm talking over this scene on purpose because it's gross and I don't want to talk about it. But I think it wouldn't have to feel like an anticlimactic ending that the threat just reverses itself at the end. Because we could use that as more of a ticking time bomb, or rather just a clock that we're on, where it's like for 7 days, make it like the Purge or something, right? Like for 7 days, the world is gonna be, like all screwed up by this comet. You basically make it like a biblical plague or something. Every day something terrible happens, and then after the 7 days, everything will revert back to normal. We just have to survive. We just have to ride out the 7 days. And that could be interesting if that's all we were doing. But instead, we kind of make it like they're trying to figure out, how to take down the trucks and stuff. And I just don't think that's as interesting as like a straight up survival movie might have been.
Right.
Iron Shell, kind of like that one Nick Cage movie. Yeah, if it was good. Okay, so my question is that gun loaded? Like, why would he have that loaded? Because he picks it up and he's threatening Pat Hingle with it.
Right.
And then he says, your ass is grass, or something, and I'm like, why would it be loaded? So this is another one of those things that's just not gonna, really culminate into anything. Okay, so he was a criminal when he was younger.
Right.
And now he's not.
Right.
Now he's Emilio Estevez, the action hero. Because that's who you want as your action hero.
Her wardrobe did do a 360.
Yep.
You're correct about that. I never noticed that.
And for no reason.
Right. No, there's no good reason given.
So you mentioned that you like the choice of soundtrack here.
I did.
This is going to be an odd comparison, and a thing that I brought up for some reason on another video just the other day. But there's a Smallville episode that does this very thing, where it takes a pre-existing repertoire of a rock band, and because of the theme of the episode, it uses that band's songs. So this is AC/DC cause technology. AC/DC. Okay. And there's a Smallville episode in the that's got to be what it is, right? Like we think it's clever because that's current. That's electric current, AC/DC. So that's the band. And there's an episode in the second season of Smallville that's about a crypto-freak that can get into your dreams, and the whole soundtrack of that episode is REM. So it's the same thing.
Yes. There's just something to me from the first time I saw this movie. There's something about the trucks moving down the road at some point later here with no drivers, and they're playing Hell's Bells.
Yeah.
I just always liked that. I thought that was cool. There you go.
So that's all we got to do.
All we got to do.
But then, make it more difficult to survive, and then just make it a survival movie. Because I'd argue that if they just didn't yell at the trucks, nothing would have happened. Am I wrong about that?
If they didn't yell,
just don't yell at the trucks.
See, I've wondered about that, and then, they keep taking rocket launchers to the trucks. Well, that probably doesn't make them happy.
Yeah. Because there's nothing stopping the trucks from just running into the building with them in it, but they don't do that until the very end. I just think this should have been a movie about having to, like, revert back to maybe primal instincts or just, you know, primal abilities.
And see, now they're talking about the end of the movie,
Yeah.
where they're headed.
But you make it about having to, like, you know, return to nature in order to defeat your modern technology that you thought you could control.
Right.
And couldn't. I mean, there's clear, you know, social or at least human commentary there that the movie just doesn't do anything with. And if the whole thing was just a, you know, silly cookie cutter plot in order to do a whole bunch of those really fun scenes from the beginning, like the kid chased by the lawnmower, I wouldn't be saying any of this, but now I'm bored. Now I don't care. This is where the movie has completely lost me, and I don't want to watch it anymore. And how many B movies do this? Where, like, all the cool stuff is in the first 20 minutes, and then they're out of ideas. Or out of budget. Why is she that over the top? I mean, I guess the idea is that she's lost it.
You pukey thing.
But she seems to know that this movie is as stupid as this movie is. RJ Godzilla says that gun was loaded in case one day trucks and other technology came to life and tried to kill everyone.
There you go.
You see, Cap, he was in the Scouts. It's why he's so prepared. Why was that logo shot like, or that logo, that awning on the outside of the truck stop, shot like we often shoot casinos in Vegas and things? You know, is that like right up underneath it? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
It was a Vegas shot. Unknown Passenger, I don't remember there being a Maximum Overdrive poster in Smallville, but that show is so horror-infused that there's a lot of references to different things.
Really?
Yeah, it's very counterintuitive how horror-inspired a lot of that show is.
So did they just run everybody a food and bar tab?
That's a good question.
Because Pat Hingle's character does not seem like to me that he would be giving all that away.
No, but also you don't have any electricity right now, so you couldn't prepare anything.
Well, it's true. But
so nothing should be cooked.
No, but I was just looking at all of the beer bottles. And
yeah. But I thought we saw some actual food, too, and I was questioning that. Maybe not.
Maybe not. I don't remember the food. I was talking about the beer bottles.
Okay, fair enough. No, I would think that he would be running them a tab. And probably charging them a premium.
So it looks like they're running dry.
And now the trucks are going to force the people to give them fuel.
Yes.
And I'm not sure I buy that they go with that ultimatum and go ahead and give them fuel, but I would just think I hate these trucks. You see what I mean, though? Like, we kind of just run out of steam already, I think. I mean, do you not have that with this? Because growing up, the only things I remember you ever talking about from this movie are in the first 20 minutes.
Well, there is that scene later with Hell's Bells. I like that, but yeah. Most of it's the first 20 or 30 minutes.
I've never done a partial commentary on a movie, but I would have almost been cool with that with this. I was just disappointed. I remember this movie being crazier throughout, and it really loses steam. There's some more silly stuff toward the end. But there's a good amount of this movie that's just trucks circling.
What was the original title?
Trucks?
There you go.
Yeah, but I bet the short story isn't just trucks circling.
Well, it is a short story.
Because you know what it is? It's like Yeah, but A, it's probably not that short, and B, that sounds lame. But it's like, you ever see The Mist? It's like The Mist, but you replaced The Mist with trucks.
Or the fog.
Or The Fog.
What would you replace the fog with? Trucks.
Motorcycles? I don't know. Deer and Root, half of them are probably going to die anyway. Good old gamer, do you need electricity for gas stoves? Like, if the stoves are gas, then would the electricity need to be on? I actually don't know the answer to that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, then maybe they could
use,
cook.
In the restaurant business, I use gas.
I didn't think of that.
Stoves, yeah.
I didn't think of that.
But now, if you cook much, the vent hoods wouldn't work, and the smoke would run you out of there.
Okay.
Because you got to have the vent hoods.
I'm not expecting that kind of realism from this movie, so maybe they could cook.
We're overthinking this. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm too far gone at this point, as far as that goes.
Ooh, he stood up to her. Don't make me a widow on my wedding day. Remember me saying that earlier?
Yep.
Pick up your feet and try not to shuffle.
Like, that's one of those...
Who wrote that? Stephen King?
Apparently. While on drugs. But, I agree. I agree with his estimation of Pat Hingle's character's character.
Oh, that he's a
F-head.
Yeah.
He's an absolute F-head.
And 3 years later, Pat Hingle is in Gotham City.
That's true. Completely miscast as Jim Gordon, by the way. Like I like him in that movie, but we're going so comic book in that film. I think it's really weird that we went for someone with more of the build of the Gordon from '66. I don't know why that choice was made. You know, at the risk of my saying a million things I've said before, Dad, I think at some point you and I should do a commentary on '89. I have 10 commentaries on the channel on that movie. I have done it 10 times.
I like that movie.
And I will do it again.
That movie is the movie that I've seen more than any other single movie.
Same here. You've definitely seen it more times than I have. Although I'm probably catching up. I am probably catching up. Unknown Passenger, his Gordon is so incompetent, especially by Batman Forever, where he's not sending cops to do anything, and he sees the Batwing at the end, and he just goes, "Go!"
Can you do that again?
Go!
There is something...
Not to be confused with the pizza manager at the beginning of Spider-Man 2. Go! Anyway, I'm sorry, what?
We decided this is my 16th viewing of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday...
You watched it again?
During my 15th viewing.
Oh, you did prepare for this.
I did.
I didn't realize that.
I did. I looked people up. I said
wow.
that.
Well, I thought you meant that you've just seen this so many times you were already looking
Well,
people
I was
up.
already looking.
Oh, okay, okay.
But, this is the sewer that they're about to go down into.
Yep.
And they make comments here about the smell and all that.
And there's a mouse.
And there's a rat.
It's not a rat. It's definitely a mouse.
When Emilio Estevez in a minute falls and splashes,
and the guy goes, "How does it taste?"
I swear to you, they colored the water yellow.
Okay. But why is that surprising?
Well, I just thought that was kind of interesting that they're
trying to make it look gross. I don't know.
Yeah, they were actually trying to make it look right, I guess. But watch this and see if you see what I'm talking about. See, he says that like they set you up for this.
Sure.
It's yellow.
That was kind of brown, but yeah. Okay.
But it was kind of the color you would expect, I guess, is what my point. Oh, we missed something.
Atmosphere.
We missed something.
What?
All I can prove it by... This is a different shirt because he doesn't have the red splotches on it.
Well, that means that he puts the old red spot shirt back on later. Because he will have it in the end.
He will?
Yes.
See, I didn't think he did.
Yes. I'll be shocked if I'm wrong about this, because I remember this from hours ago.
I'll be right back.
Oh, well, take your headphones off.
Sorry.
I'd pause it, but, everybody's watching this one. You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant you had to leave.
No.
Just got to stretch a little bit.
Had a Charlie horse. Had to work that out.
Did you work it out?
Yep. I'm good. Sorry about that. Oh, this is the Bible salesman.
No, we already killed him.
I know, but that's his body.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, now watch this.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I forgot that was the same guy. Yeah, so he's still alive. But he's as horrible as ever, so now we doubly want to see him die. I wouldn't think that would be the way to motivate a kid to save you.
I wouldn't either.
Threatening him. I meant to say this when they were actually in the sewer, Dad, but for those about to traverse the disgusting sewer, we salute you. Because that was the ACD song that was playing during that scene. Like,
is that what was playing?
Yeah, it was for those about to rock. And then you mentioned the Hell's Bells thing. Like, a lot of these songs just don't really have anything to do with anything. Like, I know you like the Hell's Bells bit, but it doesn't actually really have anything to do with anything.
Probably not, but I don't know. Maybe I just like AC/DC.
And I'm not a big AC/DC fan, but that's whatever. I think For Those About to Rock would have been more appropriate at the end when they're, firing on all the trogs. Especially if you use that bit toward the end of the song where it's like, fire! And they just keep using that.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been awesome. I feel like I could re-edit this movie with AC/DC music and the very songs they used and make it better. Mr. Roboto, $2 super chat. Thanks, man. Bible salesman might live cap also high. Well, I think he's dead now.
Yeah, he's dead now. Because they said he was dead.
AMC Comics, not gonna lie, I'd be down for another 89 Batman commentary with Cap Senior. Thanks. I've never done a live one, so that would be the only new thing about it. Besides having Dad there, is
What did he say? Cap Senior.
Cap Senior, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Captain Dad.
Captain Dad. I would love to do a Batman 89 commentary. It'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be fun because that's where my whole fandom everything begins. This whole thing is your fault.
You know what else I wouldn't mind doing a commentary on, but you've probably already done it. I wouldn't mind doing 66 Batman movie.
Sure. No, I wouldn't mind doing another one of those.
That'd be a lot of fun.
I've got one from Batmania with Eric, but some of those Batmania commentaries I wouldn't mind doing a second time with somebody else.
He's gone. He got scrubbed.
Yep. And he's going to get called out for being so crass with this kid. I like this scene okay. I think one thing that would have made me like Estevez's character more and just the interpersonal stuff in this in general better would have been if we dealt with just like the hickishness of this small town and like why everybody is as horrible as they are, with our kind of more heroic character like calling everybody out. Like, just because you're from this podunk place doesn't mean you have to be so horrible to everybody. Like, why are we like this? We should be better than this. I don't mean that this had to be a super, deep film or anything, Dad, but I do think you could have done something with, like, small town politics, small town corruption.
Was she blowing bubbles?
Yes. Which really adds to the tension. She's got this kid sitting there blowing bubbles in the middle of a machine apocalypse.
I've always wondered where this came from.
Yeah, where was it?
Where was it?
And why is it lone? Because if it came from, like...
We are still promoting Big, by the way.
Yes, like crazy. You know, I watched this movie hoping that I would, like, rethink how I feel a little bit about technology and our relationship to it, Dad. And I left just wanting to buy pens.
That's pretty funny.
See, I spent this whole movie thinking Bill's name was Bubba, because Bubba keeps calling him Bubba.
He does. Bubba calls everybody Bubba.
But what I was going to say is that, what even is that thing, like, on rollers with a gun turret? Like, it's not a tank. Like, what is it?
No, but it's military, right?
Right. But, like, first of all, do you even know what that, like, what kind of vehicle is that? And was the gun turret already on it? Or is that makeshift somehow?
I think it was already on it.
Okay.
And you said, what is it?
Yeah.
It's green.
Okay, oh. Like... Aldebaran whiskey?
Now, this guy here, he's in this scene all of about 5 minutes, and the first time I saw this, I almost applauded when he got killed.
I was going to say, is if it came from, like, the National Guard or something, why didn't it come with an army of things? I don't understand how it came by itself.
All alone. And it can hear.
Yep.
It can hear. Would you want to stand on that thing and drive it with that gun at your back?
Probably not. But wait, it looks like a trailer that would be hitched to something else. Does it have its own means of propulsion? Because I'm fuzzy as to whether a machine has to have a motor.
Yeah, because that's not really a machine as far as driven.
No.
It's not driven by anything.
In that case, why can't the Comet take over just all the guns?
Right.
Because it seems like all it is a platform with wheels with a gun on top.
And no motor.
Yeah. So, see, I'm fuzzy on whether or not a thing has to have a motor to be taken over by this alien whatever it is. He's got his rocket launcher. I wouldn't either. You should listen to Emilio Estevez. He's going to later have a champion-winning hockey team. So we should pay attention to him. Mr. Roboto, self-aware vehicles are the Pixar car apocalypse beginning. I would love to see this premise with cars. That would be wonderful.
That guy's gone, by the way.
Oh, the guy that you hated?
Yeah. That neon green shirt.
Okay, well, there's an 89 quote that has now presented itself, and you have to say it now.
What's that?
I'm glad you're dead.
I'm glad you're dead.
That is the correct line.
And then doesn't Jack kind of repeat that? And, I'm glad you're dead.
He does. That's true.
Did the waitress live through that?
I think so.
I think she did.
Oh, well, yeah, because she's going to do that whole thing again.
Front.
She's
Yeah.
going to run out, I think, here in a minute. She's going to do it again. Why is this a double beat? This should be the first time we see her do it. See, it's almost like she's never done it before. Right?
Maybe they shot it out of sequence.
Well, I mean, movies are very often shot out of sequence.
I realize that, but I'm saying and didn't realize how close that was, you know. Because she does it, you're right, she does it twice.
Are you saying Stephen King just reshot a scene that he shot already, but this time she dies?
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I think maybe the idea is supposed to be a subversion of expectations, where we thought she was going to die the first time she did this. but now she does it again. But like, I don't know how effective that is.
We made you.
Yeah, you said this already. Now you're dead.
Now you're dead.
I'm also glad you're dead, I guess.
Probably not going to live through that. Oh, man.
Man.
We just shot the
It's
beer
Miller
truck.
time.
It is
Daniel
Miller
Davis,
time.
she had to go. She did, that's true. Wanda! Just Spawn walks out from behind the store. Wanda! Of course her name is Wanda. That was a real typical waitress name in movies in the 80s.
I thought,
And then this thing has to be Morse code.
yes, I thought this was clever that the kid's the only one that can read this.
At least they didn't make the kid a super genius over it. They're kind of lucky that he's there. Well, I say they're lucky that he's there. I kind of don't know what would have happened if they couldn't communicate, if the trucks couldn't communicate with these people. Because I'm not convinced that they would have just killed them. I feel like the only reason they killed them is because they keep shooting at them. What I'm saying is there's a part of me that's on the truck's side.
You know what? I have watched this as many times as I've had, and I find myself every time in every showing of this, I find myself almost rooting for the trucks. Can we just kill them and get it over
Maybe to
with?
some degree you're sort of supposed to.
Yeah. We got any comments? There's your
See,
power.
then they give them their power back so that they can fuel them up. Mr. Roboto, I prefer the name Doris for waitresses. That's another waitress name. That's
Doris?
true. Doris.
Doris, Alice. Alice is a good waitress.
Yeah. Amy. That's something of a dramatic example, but sure.
That was kind of dramatic.
Okay, so we've been throwing out directors for a Maximum Overdrive remake. Go back to, I don't mean now necessarily, but go back to the mid-90s to Mars Attacks.
Uh-huh.
And Burton is maybe the guy at that point. Because
Oh, Tim Burton.
imagine this movie, but we actually look at the scope of it instead of focusing on the small town, and you see a president a la Jack Nicholson that's trying to negotiate with the trucks. How much fun might have that been?
Just as long as he has that line.
We still got 2 out of 3 of the branches of government left,
And that ain't bad.
and that ain't bad.
Gotta have the line.
But I also wish instead of them just luckily having a bunch of guns that there's no way that guy has licenses for, like in his business, what if they had to go up against these machines with just whatever was laying around in there that wasn't mechanical?
They'd all be toast.
And it was sure, but what if you had some actual likable and resourceful and thoughtful people that came up with a plan and you make it, Jim Kirk an arena. He just uses whatever he's got around him to fight the Gorn. Like you make it that movie. We don't have to actually go up against the 18-wheeler straight on. We figure out a way to get around him, get inside of it, bust the circuitry up. Why doesn't anybody shoot at the tires? Why doesn't anybody shoot at the tires?
Did you notice what he does here?
I never thought of that, but
He talks to this goblin truck and he says, "Tell all your friends the lines are open."
yep,
So it's like that's the leader.
right,
You mentioned that a while ago.
yep. But yeah, it definitely plays like that's just the leader the whole time.
Hell's bells.
Yep.
Or we could be in TOS like Spectre of the Gun and not have all the buildings complete.
Okay, so I'm not trying to I don't know why you do that.
I don't.
They just ravage a construction site?
You could come in under budget if you didn't go.
I'm pretty sure they did already. So I'm not trying to ruin your favorite scene in this movie. I'm really not.
I really like this scene.
But I have to complain about something. You responded to the bells. I hate that. They shouldn't have left that in. That's dumb.
Oh, the bells?
Yeah, because if you know the song, I guess, you know that that's just part of the soundtrack. But in the film, it's like, where's that bell ringing coming from? Why are there these bells ringing?
I mentioned it just because I was acknowledging the song.
Sure.
Because I knew what the song was.
No, but isn't that silly? But doesn't it look like for a second we have characters that are responding to bell noises?
It did look like that.
It's like, where are the bell noises coming from? And, like, they're not actually in there, I guess, but... Also, who's paying for this? To your point earlier.
Well, the boss...
Because Pat Hingle has also got to be...
But the boss is dead, so we're just giving it away.
Wait, is he already dead?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I
I forgot we killed him off as early as we did.
Yeah.
He dies right after that woman, right?
Yes. Or before.
Right before the scream. It's the same scene, though, right?
It's the same scene. But yeah, he dies first, because remember, he comes out with that rocket launcher, and that military thing didn't like that. He killed him.
Mr. Roboto mentioned the Penguin driving a giant duck car in Batman Returns for some reason, but that just reminds me of Penguin taking over the Batmobile in that movie. You could have had a Batman plot with this. You know, you have a supervillain that does this instead of an alien comet / spaceship.
Obviously, we did not have CGI back then, right?
Not much.
So that's not a picture, is it?
What?
That's actual trucks.
Right.
That's where their budget went.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, they just rented a bunch of local trucks.
I think you're right about it. I think there was some regional stuff in that.
No, but I'm just saying I read about that. Like, there were.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. I wasn't guessing at that. Like, they really did just get a bunch of local trucks and didn't change what it said on the side. So whatever Thurston is, that's a local business of some kind.
I think that's regional to that region. I really do. I think I remember that.
But like, Dad, you mentioned CG. Like, is it that impressive that they put like 12 big trucks on a street? Like,
I thought it was a lot more than that. Did you not?
Okay, but even if it was 20 or 30, I mean, okay, so you rented a bunch of big trucks and you put them all on a street, like,
or just borrowed them.
I mean, I would cry foul if we put that in CG now, unless you had a giant army of like 500 of them. Like, just the number they used there. Like, yeah, I guess to some degree it's sort of impressive. Okay, you put all those trucks on a street, but, like, it's a movie. You kind of expect a movie of this size to do things like that. It's Aaron Root. Meanwhile, there's a robot uprising in Japan. Exactly. There's 900 more interesting things happening on the planet right now than this, which is why I want it to not be a worldwide thing. It needs to only be affecting this town. Or I want to see all those other movies. Sorry about that. I need those other films.
Was Godzilla affected by this? Mecha Godzilla would be affected by this.
Yeah, if it just happens to be on the planet at that time. Maybe, like, I don't know.
Well, Mecha Godzilla was a machine.
No, I know that. But I'm just saying, like, you don't know if it's built. You don't know if it's...
Well, that's true.
And I said on the planet because there's different versions of Mechagodzilla. Like, it's not always built here.
That was really good timing for a tanker truck to show up, by the way.
That's true.
Right as they ran out.
Mm-hmm. How convenient.
I looked this man up, and I don't remember his name, but... I saw a recent picture of him. I don't know if he's still working or not.
Oh, interesting. Was he just a character actor?
I think so.
Like, have you seen him in other stuff?
I don't remember him in anything.
Because I don't recognize him right off.
No. And you know, you said this was shot in North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
They could have used some local people too, like people that never really went mainstream. Isn't that possible?
They very well might have, yeah.
Is there a motor on the back of that?
If there's not, it makes no sense.
No, it would make better. That's my point. It would make better sense if there was a motor on it.
But I still don't get why the trucks need gas. They just shouldn't. If you can
nothing else is needed.
If you can
power.
unplug that knife and it still keeps going, then you don't need power. And I would think that the entity would be the thing that's powering it. Ergo, the Green Goblin eyes light up.
Right.
Like, what? Would it not be able to do that if there was no gas?
Well, if the battery
Like-
was charged, it would.
But the eyes don't actually light up. It's just the entity doing that. I mean,
Right.
you can tell with the effect, unless the idea was supposed to be that it has lights in it, and that's just a not great visual effect. But my assumption was it's like demonic possession.
Right.
So I'm just saying, does it need gas to do that? I wouldn't think so.
No, you shouldn't.
Good old gamer. Surely the Megazords would really take over. Yes, this is a problem in the Power Rangers universe. Like, you don't want this to happen if there's Power Rangers.
That's funny.
Rita and Zed just stand around and let the Earth tear itself apart. Ironically, with the very things that have been defeating them on a weekly basis. Nick rules. I'd leave some comments, but I never saw this movie. Watched a couple real old movies with my dad, though. Well, I don't think watching this particular movie with people talking over it is the worst first watch of this. This is a fine movie for your first watch to be people talking over it, I think. There's a Ryder truck.
Dutch boy.
Bridgestone back there. I mean, we could spend the rest of the commentary just calling out names of companies.
Ryder.
I just said that.
Oh, I didn't know you said that.
RJ Godzilla, what about the Machine Empire? That's a good point. If it happens during Zeo, then everybody's screwed. The bad guys and the good guys. Although Rita and Zed would have a problem with Serpentera. I'm getting to a point where I'm finding a way to work Power Rangers into everything. But in my defense, that guy brought it up first. So like, they're just going to stare this gun turret down. Why are we not concerned about... Okay, so why can't it hear them right now? They were just talking to it. They're just as close to it as they were. They're doing that, like, Shakespeare aside thing. Like, I can't hear us now because we're talking over here. But I don't know why I can hear them anyway. It doesn't have ears. That was a choice.
Do they hug and kiss in every scene now?
Yes, because they're in love.
Okay.
Which actually, I don't not buy the way they initially get together. That actually could have been more rushed and forced than it was. I'll actually give them that. Like, I buy that relationship to some degree. I might have lost the line they have at the beginning where they have to do the typical, like, she's not that into him and then suddenly falls for him. Where she's like, you're cute. And then he starts getting all, like, look how great I am. And she's like, oh, you're not that cute. I would have lost that, maybe. At least she's off screen for a good amount of time. RJ Godzilla, Louis Kaboom is responsible for Maximum Overdrive. I'm calling it. Yeah, that's great. That'd be a much better thing to do with him than we actually did in that show. So why are the trucks doing this now?
Well, because they stopped feeling. And I think they're trying to find them. Okay, there's nobody working the pumps now.
Yeah. Okay. So, why did, when the trucks were circling, why didn't the entity Morse code them earlier and ask them to fill them up earlier? Did they, like, not realize that they required gas until they started running out of it? Maybe that's what happened.
Maybe.
I know the real answer is nobody actually thought that through.
Right.
But that's the only thing I can come up with.
You notice the green fog in this?
Yeah.
That's the comet's tail, right?
Yeah.
Or causing that?
Yep. There's explanation about it. I mean, there's exposition about it. And so, yeah, so we built the set, so now we're just going to tear it all down. You save yourself time when you demolish a set while shooting a film.
Oh, so you don't have to demolish it later?
Yeah.
Do it in the budget.
Yeah. We just did it as part of the movie. Now it's going to take us, like, hey, look, tiny boxes of cereal.
I think there's going to be an explosion coming up here.
Yeah, well, you got to have that. That's going to be our big climax.
So
I just think this is super disappointing that we get all these, like, hilarious machine kills at the beginning, and now it's just, trucks. I don't know. Trucks.
What was the original name of this?
It was Trucks!
That doesn't get old, by the way.
But we should have opened the movie with Trucks!
Oh, you think? Really?
Oh, we just destroyed Gas World.
What was your first clue? And what possessed him to go to the altar and say yes to her, by the way?
Maybe she wasn't like this until machines started attacking.
Maybe so.
So I'm going to reach way too far when I say this, but look, the aliens showed up, they took over all the machines, and then they actually destroyed a planet. They destroyed Gas World.
Because that's a planet. Oh, is this the Green Goblin again?
Yeah, because we got to have our epic...
Look at that.
What?
Plane in the school bus.
Oh, yeah, I never noticed that. That's actually really cool looking.
In the school bus.
It's really cool.
It is cool.
But I want more stuff like that.
You did not notice that?
I know, I never noticed that.
I noticed that in viewing...
It's to the left of frame. It's an easy thing to miss.
I noticed that in viewing number 12.
It was that long before you caught it?
It was. It was a long time.
Oh, that's what it's saying.
Humans.
I wasn't watching this with subtitles earlier. I usually do, but I had them turned off for some reason. So wait, why is it saying humans here?
Because it senses that...
So it's just talking to itself?
I guess.
Because I thought it was trying to communicate something to them. Oh, so it was just like an alarm going off.
It was an alarm, yeah.
Oh. Good old gamer. I like how your dad puts you in your place by asking the original name of the movie. Yeah, but it just fuels my point. Call it Trucks!
What do you say?
Like A, call it Trucks, but B...
There's the setup.
Have truck. Well, the payoff, because we already had that earlier. It's tasty. Mighty tasty.
Mighty tasty. And mighty was M-Y-T.
But I just feel like they like. I guess it's just establishing. I guess all the cool stuff in this movie is just establishing the premise, which is part of my problem with it. Like, if the whole thing was supposed to just be about trucks getting taken over, then just make it that, and don't have all the cool stuff at the beginning that makes me think that you're setting up for a, way bigger, more exciting film,
a global event.
Or at least make it clear that you're showing some of the global stuff just to get a sense of scope, and then you're going to narrow focus it.
Now, kids, this is a lesson in theft does not pay. By the way, see, her car turned on her.
Yeah. And I just thematically wanted this moment to have something to do with technology, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's going to get killed. I just feel like this kind of thing could also be more about, like, you know, the human hubris that we're paying for by this happening to us. But no, he's just gonna steal a ring and get run over. Okay. Like, I don't know what that has to do with anything. Don't steal, kids. Now it's really angry. And see, I hate that it's just gonna explode now. Because it gets all angry, and you think that you're ramping up for it to do something crazy, and then it just explodes. Right? Like, isn't that the moment when your bad guy, like, comes back at you, like, double time? That's a Super Shredder moment. It's like, oh god, Super Shredder! He's just gonna pull himself down and appear in the water, that's all you get. Like, that's that! It's Super Shredder! That's Super Shredder if Super Shredder was a truck driving around the whole movie. AMC Comics is Battle Van. Punisher has a van, Daredevil a bus. So we're just talking about... the comics right now are just talking about different superheroes with vehicles.
Everything's gonna be all right.
And then we didn't really have an ending, so we just put some text on the screen. Said, there was a UFO and it got blown up. We're not gonna show that happening or anything.
Well, they didn't have the budget.
This is like the end of... No, I don't think that Stephen King had a plan.
And then 6 days later, the Earth passed beyond it, and exactly as predicted.
Riveting. Exactly as predicted. Wow.
And the survivors of the Dixie Boy are still survivors.
You know what that text on the screen was at the end?
Uh-uh.
That was the ending of like 68% of NES games.
Oh,
congratulations! Yeah. You beat the bad guy. You win. The end. You solved this problem precisely as predicted.
And the end song is one of AC/DC's best known songs from way before this.
Well, yeah, but I mean, most of the soundtrack is major AC/DC songs. Everybody knows, like
it is.
Hell's Bells is in the same category, right?
Yep. That's true.
I mean, I'm not a fan of that band, so I don't actually know the timeline of any of that, but, like, that couldn't have been a new song.
No, it wasn't.
I don't mean a song made for this, I'm just saying probably not even a super recent song. I don't know that, but... And, like, Those About to Rock, surely that was around a little while.
Somebody will catch me on this if I'm wrong, but I think this song was around 80, if I remember right. It was on Back in Black, if memory serves.
And at this point, AC/DC is the most overused band in movies, I think.
Well, if I counted right, and this was 16 times, that's about 32 hours I'll never get back.
I'm not judging, man.
But I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. It was entertaining.
It's more fun talking over it. Yeah, all my memories from this were from the first half hour.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't think I remembered anything that happened after that. Is it a green background because of the Green Goblin head?
I don't know.
Is that why we did that?
Well, really, what did I mention about late in the movie? It was that Hell's Bells scene. That was about it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's all I mentioned. Everything else was from the beginning.
Yeah. Am I right though? Like that's all the fun stuff. It's at the beginning. Dad's like, my favorite movie is trucks driving around a building.
It is. But there's a gap.
There
is a gap.
I wouldn't have tested that. Like, they're gonna speed up.
That's right. Well, I enjoyed that. Are we off?
I can't believe, right? Just automatically the video stops.
It's amazing.
No. See, actually, there's like this comet passed, and now the technology runs the channel.
The show.
Yeah, it does. But it actually likes what we do, so it forces me to be here and keep doing this. Otherwise, it'll circle my house for a while and then drive through it.
So it forces you to do this, kind of like Mystery Science Theater.
Right.
You are
So
forced to do it.
Yeah. Instead of like weird aliens, it's a comet that makes me make YouTube videos.
But they said at the end of that movie that there was a UFO.
Oh, yeah.
That wouldn't have been part of the comment.
And they blew it up. They got rid of that.
Blew it up with a weather satellite. That's what
A
it
weather
said.
satellite,
A
yeah.
weather satellite.
Thanks, Ronald Reagan and Star Wars. I guess, because I don't know what else it would have been in 1986.
It would have had to have been Star Wars.
Anyway, well, everybody, thanks as always for watching. Dad thinks that I'm just talking to a blank screen.
I really thought that.
I just love that you're like, oh, it's over now.
It's over. We're done.
Hope you guys enjoyed this. This is, like I said, this is a thing that I meant to do for a long time, and I was disappointed that it wasn't as crazy all the way through as I remembered it. That was kind of sad. But
you probably saw it a long time ago.
Yeah, and like I said, only like once or twice. Like you showed it to me. You showed it to me around the time that, and I wanted to bring this up, by the way, it being Halloween season. This is another thing that we could potentially, if we ever wanted to do more Halloween stuff, do a commentary on. You showed me this around when you showed me the Child's Play movies.
Okay.
Which is like the formative horror franchise for me, because that was probably the roughest and most violent thing I had seen to date at that point, and we watched those when I was like 12, 1, 2, and 3.
Did I show you?
And I still really like Child's Play 2. I think it holds up quite well. 1 does not. I mean, it's fun, but it's not as good as I remember it. And 3, I've never gone back to. I've never watched that again. And I'm watching the new TV show now. It's a guilty pleasure, but I'm enjoying it.
Who was the woman in the first Child's Play movie?
That is Catherine Hicks.
From Star Trek 4.
From Star Trek 4.
That's what I thought.
And I can't. Seventh Heaven. She was the mom in that.
Yes. Did I ever show you, when you were growing up, the first Halloween?
You know, I think you did. And, of course, I've seen that several times since, but I couldn't remember when I first saw it. But I think so, yeah.
That has one of
11, 12.
That has one of my favorite actors in it. That has Donald Pleasance.
Donald Pleasance, yeah.
I really liked him.
But it's sad that, like, that's the thing that franchise is the main thing he's known for. I mean, like, he gives his fine performance in that first movie, but he could have been in more stuff.
Well, he was a better actor than just that, you know.
He didn't do a ton else, I don't think.
I
don't know what else he was in, honestly.
He was the president in Kurt Russell's movie Escape from New York.
Oh, was he really?
Yes, he was the one that got kidnapped. And he played this real weak president, and he was kind of, in a way, he was kind of like annoying, kind of begging for his life, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's what he was supposed to be.
Right.
And I've seen so many character actors that can only play one character. And to me, it's refreshing when somebody can do all kinds of different things. And he was like that. I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
And he was believable in Halloween as the doctor. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just going to say, Escape from L.A. surprisingly holds up. I've gone back to that.
You know,
that's pretty watchable.
I've watched that.
That's another thing you and I watched when I was a kid.
I've watched that 1 or 2 times, but does that movie have Map of the Stars Eddie in it?
I don't remember.
You said Escape from L.A.?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy,
oh, yes, it does. I know what you're talking about now.
The street
yeah.
that sells maps.
Yep, I know what you're talking about now. Yep, it does.
I like that actor.
Yep. Yeah. But that has a fantastic ending that sticks with you, which in some ways should have been the ending to this movie, if you think about it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I hate to ruin this movie for everybody that hasn't seen it, but end of Escape from L.A., do you remember this?
Barely. I've seen it twice.
We basically do like an EMP, and we shut down all technology on the planet, and it's going to take us forever to get any of it back. That should have been this. It would have been really cool if Maximum Overdrive ends with, oh, technology doesn't work anymore. We have to go back to the drawing board. Like, that would have been really cool. I don't know how you get there, but it would have been cool if that was the end of this. I brought it back. Anyway,
there you go.
Everybody, thanks as always for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And Dad, come back and do another commentary, because these are always a lot of fun to do.
I would like to do that. This was a lot of fun.
I can't believe after all this time you've never done one.
I've done a couple of shows with you, but I've never done this. but it was fun.
Was that weird for you? Because I know you've never talked consistently through a movie. Was it just kind of weird, like, not just getting sucked in and watching the movie? Because a lot of first timers have that, where it's like, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to be talking.
Yeah, no, it really didn't, because I think I'd never seen one of yours, but I've seen enough of the Mystery Science Theater type stuff.
Sure.
That I kind of knew what to expect, I guess. And I've seen all the Batman commentary, especially Adam West, and I've watched all that.
Yeah, Adam West's 66 commentary is one of the best
It's good.
Superhero movie commentaries there is. I like it a lot. What do you say?
I cannot remember, but when they're flying in the helicopter in 66 Batman, and there's that exercise guru on top of the building. I can't think of his name, but he lived for a long time.
Yeah, he talks about that guy.
And he talks about it. I think that's kind of cool.
I'm surprised you brought that up out of everything else in that movie, because I always remember that too. But yeah,
the shark.
Jack LaLanne.
Jack LaLanne, very good.
Yep.
He worked like up into the 90s.
I know.
I mean, into his 90s. The exploding shark.
Yeah, Jack LaLanne lived until 2010, 2011. He was 100 years old.
Was he 100?
Yeah, he made it to 100.
But I know late in life he was doing infomercials.
Well, he was, yeah. He had products on the market.
That's what I mean, yeah. He was talking about his products. It's pretty cool.
Like juicers and stuff.
The other thing I take away from that movie is Adam West talking about the exploding shark.
Right.
Like that terrible sound that it made when they'd slap it.
Yep.
It's pretty funny. But yeah, anyway, I'd love to come back and do another one.
Well, we will do that, hopefully sometime in the not-too-distant future. And in the meantime, I will be back on Thursday for the Captain Logan Show. Look forward to that. We're going to be doing After Dark after that night, and we're going to do some Halloween stuff. And then Friday night, we're going to do another mini marathon, Austin and I, on some of the Treehouse of Horror episodes of The Simpsons. So look forward to that. And in the meantime, I was Captain Logan, and this was my dad.
Was your dad?
It's still my dad, but anyway.